Well, excuse my mess. You see all these wires, but I got a new toy, and I've been doing some testing, and I'm really surprised it works. It really works. This is what I get? I got a WeBoost 470103R, which is also called the WeBoost Connect 4G. This is a refurbished version, which is fine. Comes with a 9-day warranty. But I saved some money with it. But the biggest thing is actually improves my signal greatly, which I just didn't know if it would or not. And so at my research, this is what I chose right here, the one in the black box. It's 314, and one of the reasons I also got it is because it has free returns. So I knew if it didn't work, I could easily send it back. But presently surprised it works very well. And the reason I'm doing this video now, because I know it's not quite finished yet, is because of testing purposes. Where we're at, we are in a campground called Tropical Palms in Celebration, Florida, just outside of Orlando. Very busy place, a lot of people here. The tower, I guess, gets overloaded. And where we're at, we normally, let me show you this. I've never monkeyed with the signal strength and carried on with that, but I noticed while we was here, well, let me show you. Go back to my phone. And let me show you how you can get to this setting, at least for an Android. I think for let me get back here. I'll start from scratch. All right, just click on your gear. This may not know how this is going to turn out on the camera. All right, go down to About Phone. All right, click your status, SIM card status. Okay, then it's signal strength. So I got 82 dB. If you can find focus. Oh, I don't like. There she goes. Between my eyes and these camera's eyes. All right, 82 dB, which is awesome. Normally I would be seeing like 112, 115, which is almost no signal at all. You can see they consider a dead zone on 4G, which I've got. This device does 3G and 4G. So when you hit 120 dB, you pretty much got no signal. And I cannot get this thing to focus for hoot. What is the deal with this phone? This is not my normal phone, so good gravy. But anyway, you can see it, but that says 120. And you can see this scale. You got excellent, good, fair, poor. So if you get around 90, that's excellent. And what's surprising, like, for every 20 dB in gain, that's 100 times the power. So it scales up pretty fast. But anyway, it took me from almost unusable signal to a super signal. And I'll show you how you get that little box. You got this cable, comes loops around. Then you got this device. Now, so these things do get hot, but they say it's normal. So what's this thing? It's 106 degrees. It gets warm. I've seen on the reviews people complain about it, but the WeBoost says it's perfectly normal. Now let me show you how I did it outside. At first, I strapped me a pole up there and tried that, just from a first test, but that was kind of a pain having to twist and rotate. So my next test is I went up here. You see, I momentarily clamped it to my TV antenna, which I rarely use anymore, but that makes it great because I can easily rotate it and aim it toward the tower. So I think all this will be my permanent location. It won't be out on the end of the wing like that. I'll make a pipe, I'll do something. I still got some deciding and engineering to do to make it the way I want it. And I'm also trying, I do know I want to probably mount it on the ceiling here because I found out signal wise, you got to be close to it if you really want a good boost. Because if you get off toward the rear of the RV, the numbers start dropping. And let me see here an example. So I'm sitting here at 83 right now. Let's take it back here, and I'll let it sit there for a second because it takes about maybe 30 seconds for it to readjust. Okay, see it's starting to climb up. Yeah, it's already going up to 100 now. So the signal strength can change drastically when you're not really close to the device. So this is my little workstation. This is where I always stay. So my plan is I'm probably going to reposition it kind of over here run the cable on this back side because I got to have this box mounted somewhere, sort of out in the open. So maybe mount the box here, run the cable up through, and that's where I got these cabinets all out and got a mess. And let me show you my plan. I found, where is it at? There's a little hole up in here where oh, what's it called? The wind sensor is. Hang on, I got a phone call. Okay, back. Had a quick phone call, but anyway, there's a hole right up here somewhere. There it is. That's for that. What's that thing called? It's like a wind sensor for my awning. Well, I never did trust that thing. I don't even ever use it. So I might use that excess point there to get my cable up to the roof, and so that's why I've got all this stuff apart. But as a tip, if you take this stuff out, see, I normally leave the back pieces folded up. That's normally screwed up here. But it gives me, I can store stuff all the way to the cap with these big long trays. So if you want a little extra storage up in your cabinetry, you can do that. Close those doors. The wife hates it when I leave doors open, and I do it all the time. But anyway, I just wanted to show this quick video. This thing really does work. It gives me awesome service, because when that thing goes off, the cell signal, I'll get like one bar, and you can make a phone call, but trying to surf the web or anything like that, it's just horrible. So anyways, thanks for watching, and hopefully later I'll have a finished video, actually when I decide where I'm going to mount and hang all these wires and get that part done. Have a great day. See you, bye. Okay, flash forward now. I'm down here at Kissimmee, down at a campground called Tropical Palms. Been here for 3 months, and of course you can see my brick. And I'm sitting here on my little desk, and there's my my booster antenna. Of course, the receiver antenna is up on the roof. But I just want to point out, I've been using this now for 3 months. It works great. You can see over there, I got 4 lights. That's what you want. So there's no interference, no problems as far as with distance on the antenna. But I was going to point out to you, the one I got here, it looks like it's no longer available, this particular model, because it was a reconditioned one that we bought. But there's other versions out there now that you can see how they're designed. They look virtually identical. And I've seen them anywhere from $200 to $299. But you can read the reviews. And also, don't be concerned about getting one made for an RV, because evidently the ones made for RV are of lesser power, less boost. So if you get one for a home office, but I believe the reason for that is something to do with that if you use one being mobile in an RV, the powerful boost can maybe affect other RVers or cell towers. I don't know exactly, but I'm only using this when I'm stationary. I have no use to have this thing on while I'm driving anyways. So let me take you outside and show you a little bit what it looks like out there, the final version. Oh, before I go outside, I wanted to point out to you how close. You can see right there's the booster part, and the receiving part is just above here. So we're not very far apart at all. But you can also see I still got 4 lights, so I got no interference. Let me show you outside. So from here you can see how I got it set up on my Batwing antenna, and how I can easily rotate it toward the cell tower. And it does a great job. So you get an ideal, I don't know, what am I, 4 feet off the roof, maybe 5 at the most. And that's got me far enough from the booster part to not create any interference. Of course, I've seen other people do this different ways. They'll take the receiver part and just put it on a piece of PVC pipe and strap it to their ladder in the back or something like that. And you can also get those little flat cables that will go through your window. I think it may even come with it. In fact, it does in this kit. It had a little flat piece of coax that you can run through your window and run the cable out the window that way. But I wanted a more permanent solution, so if I pull up at a Walmart in the middle of the night and I need a better reception, I can just crank up my antenna and turn this on, and I'm ready to go. Of course, you can see I got my little office here because I still have to work every day, even when we're traveling. So it's imperative to me to have a good cell phone service and data for the internet. And I know in particular in this campground, if you go like 2 rows back, I know RVers on the back side, to make a phone call, they got to step outside their RV because the signal just gets so weak. But for me, I'm good to go. I've always got internet. I've always got cell phone service. But if I didn't have that this booster installed, and I've rented that in the past. I've been to campgrounds where I'd have to go out the RV and walk to the end of the street to make a phone call, which can be kind of a pain, especially when you rely on your phone for business and stuff. But I guess I'll wrap this part up, just showing you how well it works. It does a great job for me, and now I'll throw in some video to show you how I got to this point, my install process. It took a little work, but it made for a nice clean job when it was done. Thanks for watching. So I'm working on a plan on how to get my WeBoost all wired up down to the RV. So here's my plan. This little wind sensor thing has to do with my awning. That big thing over there, which I never use. I'm going to take this off because it's already got a hole there. So I'm not drilling no new holes in the RV. And I've got one of these pieces here to run my cable through. So, but I thought about doing it here, but the way it's done in the RV, I don't have easy access to these cables at all. But it's much easier here. And I was really surprised. This stuff has been on here for 15 years. I thought it was going to give me some trouble, but I just started down here with this putty knife around the edges, got it started, and it's kind of lifted off really easy. I found I got 3 Phillips screws to remove. So I'll get those peeled off. That's coming off. Look at there. Easy peasy. So I'll get those 3 screws, peel this up, and see what I get into from there. Oh, there we go. That was easy enough. I get my connector to go through. There we go. All right. So I'll get this all cleaned up and get my new little plastic piece here, whatever thing's called. Get that up here. Get out some Dicor and get all this sealed up. So I'm making some progress, as you can see. I've got it attached to my TV antenna, so that way I can dial it in from inside the RV. Just got me a piece of aluminum angle here and carefully screwed it in here. Because as I put in these screws, I was careful about wiggling my cable back and forth to make sure I didn't pinch anything. Made sure that worked out pretty good. And I used this here as a template so I could drill my holes to get my cable through there. And I just gotta get this fastened down through that and do a little more testing. I think it's gonna work out pretty well for me. Gotta get the cable routed down into the RV, and we'll be able to dial in our dial in our cell towers, get better signal. Okay, shorty video because I want to show you, in case you, like me, you're working on your Winegard Batwing Antenna, as you can see here, and you're trying to remove this piece to get under here to clean it up, make sure, because it's getting to where it's not pivoting good, it's been on there for 15 years. You'll realize it takes a special socket to remove it, and I didn't have one, didn't have time to order one. Don't know if you can order one or not. So I'm going to show you what I did in order to make one. And I know you're seeing all this weird stuff. You think, what the heck's that crap? So anyway, I added a WeBoost for my cell phone reception, and because of the added weight, I'm building me a spring assist. That'll be in another video. But I'm going to show you this socket thing I came up with. Well, anyway, this may look familiar to you if you're working on your antenna. And the book, if you're trying to remove this, by the way, it takes a 3/32 Allen wrench, little bitty dude. So you remove that handle, and then you look up in this hole, and you'll see there's a socket, a nut up in there. And well, here's the nut. I was able to get it out. Now the book does tell you it takes a 15/16 socket. But what it doesn't tell you, it takes a special, very deep well socket, because I got a 15/16, and that's not deep enough. Because you got that, there's a big chunk of aluminum, sticks way down, gets in your way. So I'm impatient in the way I am. I said, well, I got to make me a socket. So I got me a piece of PVC pipe. This is 1-inch PVC, and I'll show you what I did too in order to make this. I'm gotta go to the garage now. Well, there's a couple ways you could go about making your own socket. So I got lucky. I happened to find a bolt laying around that happened to have a 15/16 head. I know it's kind of rare. So I had that bolt here. So I just took me a little torch and warmed it up good. After I got it warm, I took my PVC pipe and just slowly pushed down on top of it, wiggled it a little bit so it made my notches that I needed so it would fit this nut right there. That's how I was able to unscrew it real easy. Now, you may not have a bolt like that laying around. So in that case, if you go up on the roof of your antenna, put it in my pocket here, this little black nut that's on top is the same size. So you can unscrew that and you could use it to mark the places where you need to make your little notches. Now you could just use a little Dremel tool. That would come in handy. Maybe a small hacksaw blade, anything, just to get your points, because that's all it takes, just a little bit to get a hold of it, and it'll unscrew it right out, because it's only hand tight. It's not all that tight. And you watch that little bitty plastic washer, don't lose it when it falls out. Okay, it took 2 hands. I just wanted to show you that little nut up top will fit in here. It's the same size. And for clearance issues, I have to grind just a little bit off this PVC pipe here, because it's kind of tight fit up in the ceiling. But that got it apart for me and didn't cost me anything. Just had stuff I had laying around. So if you're trying to get that apart, you're looking for a socket, there you go. Just make your own. Thanks for watching. I'll try to give you a close-up view. You can see the little notches in there. If I get it to focus good. That's all it took. Just enough to get a hold of the corners, and it unscrewed real easy. Okay, going to show you my homemade socket in action. Get the camera in the right spot. Go up here. I feel I got to hold the nut. Just turn. I have to wiggle it a little bit, make sure she's loose. She's still there. There she is. So that's how you get that nut out of there with your homemade socket. Make yours today. Okay, well, I got my new parts in. Got a new shaft, new top bushing. But I was going to do a dry run. I wanted to show you this. Be sure to get your old seal washer and wave washer out. You see it down in there. So you want to be sure to get that out, because I didn't notice it at first, and I put it in there. It was kind of binding. So well, something's not right. So I stopped to inspect, and that's what I found. So I took this part off and got this all cleaned up really good. So I'm going to pluck these old parts out, put the new ones in, and see how it turns. Well, I've got it in the vise here. I kind of did a dry run. I put the shaft in here, just checking my clearances. I don't have the little seal and washer on it yet. And I've tightened the nut. I just wanted to check the end play. Very little end play, so I thought if it was excessive end play, I would shim it. But it doesn't look like I need to. But I think this is going to work out pretty well. Something else I'm going to do, I noticed those aluminum arms are getting gouged, because this is really sharp right here. There's a little ding. So I'm going to smooth this up with a file and some sandpaper. So I'll do that and then get back on the roof. Okay, about ready to put the shaft and things together. Of course, your new shaft is going to be longer, so you cut it off to match the old one. Got that done. Got the wave washer, the flat, and the rubber O-ring. Now, one thing I like using, I've had good luck anytime dealing with plastic parts and lubrication, is dielectric tune-up grease. The DuckBot's just spraying some silicone spray on it, because dielectric tune-up grease is silicone grease. That's what it is. So it seems to hang in there longer. It does a good job. Something else I did before I reassembled this. Where did it go? Here it is. So I took this out. It was all dirty and filthy. Cleaned it really good. Took me one of these Scotch-Brite pads and shined this up a little bit. Got it nice and smooth. Same way on this end. And I'm also going to put me a little bit of that silicone grease on here. And there's a seal that goes in there. I've got it laying here somewhere. I think I misplaced it. There's a rubber seal. I'm going to seal it good too. And as long as I find it. Okay, I found it. So I'll put me some dielectric grease on that too. Keep the water out. And we'll get all this in and do a little test spin and make sure everything operates nice and smoothly as it should. And of course I'll put me a dab of grease up into this cap. Because that's our bearings. That's where all the forces are when you're twisting that thing up and down. Okay, so here's how it's done. I've got me some little grease here. Just putting a real thin layer around that. Same way here. Got me a little thin layer all the way around it. And I'll put this on here. Put this together. I have to go back downstairs and put that nut on there. See how it goes. Okay, I haven't went down below yet, but look, that really does turn up nice and smooth. I'm gonna go ahead and put the shaft in now. Got it lubed up. Put the nut on it. I'm gonna make sure this turns freely before I go putting everything together. And as you can see, I put me a good dab of grease or silicone grease in the cap because that's going to be an important part. It's where a lot of the load's going to be. So I'll tighten this up and make sure everything's free and smooth before I put it together. Okay, seems like there's always a snag no matter what you get into. This snag is if I put, according to the paperwork here, if I put in, oh, where's it at? There it is. The wave washer, the flat, and the rubber O-ring. Because I get binding, so I have to leave out the wave washer and the flat washer, because the O-ring's of course the most important thing. Because I put that in there and it locks up tight. It won't rotate. So I'm going to be leaving these little dudes out, but I have virtually no end play, but it turns nice and free, because that's what I want. No binding. If I put those little items in there, it locks up tight, won't rotate. You know, unless a person maybe made a shim up here on this nut, if you had just the right size gasket, could do it. But I'll just put that in my toolbox, label it where it goes. If I ever get any in play in the future, then I can always add it back. But I like how that feels. That's what I want. So that's what I'm going to do. Well, sometimes you just have to laugh. So anyway, I came down here, was fixing to gather up my stuff to put this up in there. So there's the nut that goes up in there. There's the socket I made. There's this little washer. So I grabbed that little washer and I was just fixing to put it up in there. And what I do, I drop it. It bounces, goes in between the TV, back inside this cabinet where I can't get to it. I spend 10 minutes fishing the stupid thing out. So when I finally got it out, it's always an adventure. To start this stuff. You never know what you're going to get into. All right, so I'm going to put that on there. Come add a little dab of grease on there, that silicone grease. Let's see if I can do this one-handed, just to see if I can get her done. So there's the shaft, and there. Snug. All right, that should do it. Yeah, that turns real free. I like that. I'll go back upstairs, make sure everything's pivoting the way it's supposed to. Okay, I had to come back down, use my socket and back it off. Oh, maybe a quarter turn or something like that. It was just a little bit too snug. But now, I mean, it's just effortlessly, it turns so easy. All right, back to the roof we go. All right, back on the roof. You can see how smooth this turns now, effortlessly. Very, very smooth. Get the camera in the right spot. There you go. Looks it very well. Now I just got to put my half moon gear in there and lube that up good and work on my little spring mechanism I'm trying to make. Okay, well this is part of a larger project, but I want to make this little short video. This is my Winegard Batwing Spring Assist. So the reason I came up with this little invention, rig, what you want to call it, is because I've added a WeBoost antenna booster, so that added some more weight to it. And the only thing that cranks and lowers this antenna is this little flimsy plastic gear. So I was concerned over time I'd strip that gear out. So after putting this on here, I noticed the extra weight and the extra effort it was taking to crank it up. So I decided to make a spring assist. You kind of see how I've done it. Simple enough. Little plate of aluminum up here. I got 2 springs. This is a 3-foot piece of aluminum angle I bought at Lowe's. Of course, you can see my WeBoost up top. But now what is cool, if you can get all this in, is I can just take one finger now and lift this whole thing up. Easy peasy. See how the mechanism works? I'll lower it down now. Just right. And the tension is just right because you want it down on the roof all the way. Here's another angle. Let me be easy to see. It goes up so easy now. It's unreal. Ta-da! Maybe you can get a better idea how I put it together. In fact, to give you an idea of how easy it is, you know, this real thin, flimsy metal here, I can pick it up from it also. You just take one finger, lift it completely up. There we go. So I just want to show that, share it. You might find that interesting or handy. You might want to make one. I just got to get my new gear in there, lube it up, and this project will be almost over with. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. I need to add a little PS to this video. This is the spring I use. I used 2 of these, and it made the balance work out just right. I experimented with different ones, but this is what worked for me. So anyway, thanks again. Have a great day. Bye. Okay, sorry for the noise. It's cold tonight, and I got my turbo heater running. But I'm getting ready. I've got me some silicone grease. Put on my gear. Gonna put this back together. Give it a test run. And I went ahead. Someone, I guess, in the past had used some spray lithium grease. It was all gooey in there. I kind of cleaned that out with some alcohol and tried to get everything working a little bit smoother. So I'm gonna just pop this together like so. Put my pins in, my clips on it, and then we'll go downstairs and do a test on the crank to see how smooth it comes up. Okay, last step down here, easy peasy. I couldn't video it, but just put this plastic piece. Don't forget your spring and your little set screw on here. But let me show you how easy this is now, because it's all the way down position. I'm gonna crank it all the way back up just with one finger. Up, up, up. It's never operated that smooth and easy. All right, so it's all the way up, and we're going to rotate it. Really smooth operation in there, no noise, no squeaks. Okay, now let's crank it down. Look how easy it goes down. It actually starts going down by itself. Wow, that's pretty cool. Good and snug. All right, one more time. Take it up. Take it up one finger. I like it. Pretty neat, pretty neat. Make yours today. I'm ready, Sweet Pea. Crank it up. Up she goes. Up she goes. Cool. Okay. Now twist it. All right. I'm checking my cabling, make sure I've got it in the right place. Looks good, Sweet Pea. Awesome. Cable's gonna work good there. Okay, take it back to where the arrow lines up, and then crank it back down. Does that go down easier?
Oh yeah.
Alrighty, thank you. Okay, it's time to get my cable run down into the RV and make sure we get it sealed up good. So I got this little device here from Winegard, and there's your part number if you need one, CE4000. And I laid it up here. Make sure I got it centered with this hole, with this area here. Made my marks. I done drilled me one hole right here. I done drilled 2 holes. So got my screws started. I pre-drilled them with a drill bit to that fiberglass, because you don't want to just start forcing these screws and then crack a bunch of stuff. So I did a pre-drill. And let's see how this works. Doing things one-handedly. There we go. Here we go. So I'm gonna go ahead and pre-drill and put screws in all the rest of them. Then I'll take it out, lay me down a coat of die-core and put it together. All right, you see all screws are in, so I'll zip those back out, run my cable down, and get my caulk and gun and lay the die-core to it. Okay, just so you know, I've used some alcohol to clean this really well first, and then Scotch-Brite to sand it so everything's good, clean, and dry. So I'll get some good adhesion here. Got my die-core ready to go. And don't be shy about using this stuff. Put a big bunch on there, it'll just ooze out the excess. So there we go, good old glob. Now it's starting to settle down, and I'm not sure how long it takes to cure, but I'm going to be inside here for a few weeks anyway, so it should be in good shape. Oh, while I'm up here on this Winnebago, I was going to remind people, whenever you get a Winnebago, you want to especially pay attention to this seam right here. It's been known for people to actually lose their roofs because this caulk fails, and I have to redo mine about every 5 years. And if you look at it, if you push on it and you can see it pushing away and it opens up, then it's time to be replaced. And it's a special type of sealant too. You can contact Winnebago. I forget what it's called. I think I got a video on this somewhere on my channel. But it's because it has to be able to. It's a type of polyurethane, I believe, because it has to stick to the slick aluminum and to the fiberglass. But when that fails, water will get in here, and of course rot out the roof. But another thing can happen is the wind can get up underneath this fiberglass, because this fiberglass is glued to the luan across the top. But this section right here is not glued. It just bends over, pops into this aluminum track, and it's held in with that sealant. So it's critical that that sealant stays in place, because if it doesn't, and you get in a bad windstorm, it could peel right off on you. That would make for a very bad day, so don't do that. I was going to go over some part numbers. If you need this shaft, there it is, RP 4000. If you need a half moon gear, RP 3000. Amazon or your local RV store. Okay, everything's pretty much finished up here on the roof. One last thing I had to do was I had an issue with my drain holes on this sensor here. So originally you have drain holes at the bottom because this is its normal position. But when I lay it down, those drain holes would be straight in line with a rainstorm. If I'm driving down the road, it'd blow water right up into it. So I put these little caps on here. If I can get focused on it, there it is. So now the hole is off to the side. So when it's in the down position, water won't go in it. But also when it's in the down position, I had to create a new drain hole, which that's up here. So either way it is, if there's any condensation in that box, it's got to have a way to let the condensation drip out. So I got that took care of, and I added me a little bumper right here so when it comes down it rests on it so it stays nice and snug and it's not no vibration, no bouncing around. So just gather up my tools, get everything back down, and finish up my wiring down below. I don't know if I pointed this out to get you a close-up shot of how I got the spacing, because up here you see you got your cable coming out which goes to the antenna. So I had to space it with a stack of washers when I screwed my angle iron to it. So in case you want a close-up shot, that's what I did. There you go. Okay, you can see where my wires are coming through. Right there they are. We got some dichlor oozing around. So we should have a good seal there. My goal is to have my WeBoost mounted right here. So from the couch I can glance over my office area where I'm working. I can always see my lights and see what kind of signal I'm getting. So to do that I got to get a power wire and the coax cable in behind this panel. And to do that, got my little plastic tool here. You got a little trim piece, you got some nails. Pops off real easy like that. Then behind there you got two screws to take loose. So I'll take those out, get me a little space to work. And as you can see, pretty easy getting the wires through here. Only have to take the one screw loose, left the other one in. And I was able to fish them right through, so that was no problem at all. Okay, I want to show you my mostly final WeBoost setup. So I got it right here. Of course, got the power running around back behind the cabinets. Got my cable coming up around here. Got those little quick connect fasteners where you can pull that piece and remove them later and not leave any sticky residue, hopefully. But because of my situation, this is where I normally sit. My phone is right below me. I want to be able to pick up that signal and boost it right here. So this is where I want it mounted. The problem is when I bring in the room, this hits, and I would have to remember to unscrew this connection each time before I bring in the room, but I know how my brain works. One of these days I'm not going to remember to do that. So I've got me these little slip-on connections, so instead of being a screwed-on coax, it's a push-on connection. So that makes it a lot easier to hook up. But I'm going to show you what's cool about this. On the day I forget and I bring in the room, and before I tear something up, let me show you what's going to happen. Alright, make sure we got here. We're going to bring down the room. And I forget to unhook that. How do you like that? So it unplugs itself automatically. I got me a little bungee cord. It catches it, keeps it from dropping to the ground. So anyway, that's my backup plan in case I forget. And so like when I get to my destination, see to unhook it, I just pull this off here and put it in the cabinet somewhere. But when I get to my destination, I just hook this up right, just like that. Hang on. to do that again. I don't know if I had it in the camera shot or not. So anyways, take it out of the cabinet. I hook it up just like that. You can see how the bracket is. Just slide it on. Now if I can hit it. There we go. And then all I gotta do is push this connector on like that. And I'm connected. And I'm ready to boost my phone signal and get plenty of internet. Actually, I got one of those jetpack bricks. That's mainly what I use it for also, was to increase my signal for my Wi-Fi. So anyways, that's how that's gonna work.